As the U.S. gun control debate intensifies, some Americans are looking overseas for ideas on how to prevent mass shootings. Japan has one of the lowest rates of gun violence in the world. Take a look at this stark comparison. The U.S. has more than 4 firearm homicides per 100,000 people, compared to almost 0 in Japan.
What's up, YouTube family? Todd and Tasha. Here we are again. Glad to be back, making another video together. Are we moving to Tokyo, Japan? We are going to talk about blacks moving to Japan, living in Japan. But we just again want to talk about. We want to let you guys know as far as what's going on with us. You know, are we moving to Tokyo, Japan, or what? If you guys genuinely like this video, if you realize you genuinely like this video, or you genuinely like us,
right,
as people, as a married couple, then we ask that you please like this video, comment, subscribe, and share all over social media. And if you don't have social media, we will kindly ask that you share anyway. And by sharing, that's picking up the phone. Hey, y'all, letting someone
caring.
know. We love the United States, but crime here in the United States is off the chain. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. Things like the whole virus thing, it seemed like things really have gotten out of control. This is supposed to be a free country. United States is supposed to represent the land of the free, the land of the brave. Because people are all over the world are trying to get here to the good old US of A. And you have a lot of people coming over here legally, but then you have a whole lot of people coming over here illegally. And a lot of people that are coming over here illegally, they're causing the people who came over here legally to be upset. And even saying it's not fair to them that people are coming over here illegally, but that's a whole nother story and a whole nother topic.
Right.
But that just lets you know that how great this country is in terms of how free this country is in terms of, you know, all these people are trying to, you know, come into this country. You have a place like Japan. Now, I'm not going to say, or I don't want you guys to think that we are trying to say that Japan is the safest country in the world.
Right.
We don't want you guys to think that we're trying to say there's no crime in Japan, because that's totally not true. There is crime in Japan. There was a report that came out in around 2016, and the report basically said that according to studies done from the United Nations and the University of Chicago, that they found that out of 175 households in Japan carried a firearm.
Wow.
But 1 out of 3 Americans carried a gun. So that should be telling you something right there. They had a situation that happened, a massacre that happened. They may have had something maybe more recent, but I think it was even maybe in 2016, where this crazy person had basically stabbed 19 people. So at that point, that was like the biggest massacre that they had on their land. And that's, of course, that's not including the World War II incident where the United States dropped bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So the thing is this: if you look at the gun laws over there, the gun laws are more strict. They're more strict over there than they are here. It's easier to get guns here, but over there, you have to go through a long process. And it usually takes, you know, maybe like up to a year. Some people, it's taken a whole year for them to, you know, get a gun, because they go through all these different background checks and a whole lot of other stuff that they had to go through. A long process. Now, we were trying to find out, why is crime so low over in Japan, over in Tokyo? A huge reason, besides what I told you guys as far as the studies with the guns and who all owns guns or whatever. But so for one, since, you know, World War II, when the bombs were dropped over there in Japan, that it was basically a turn off from them. They didn't want, violence. Okay, they just didn't want to deal with the violence anymore because, what happened to their country. So they were trying to go a different route, and the United States even helped Japan rebuild. So, which I don't really think the United States really gets that much credit for it, but we helped Japan rebuild, including the car companies. We helped them, with their car manufacturer, their car companies. So now they actually been, for years, they were, they surpassed United States car manufacturers, car companies, and they became like number one for a while, selling their cars. So the other thing is this, that when it comes to anger and aggression in Japan, that there's not a lot of people who display anger and aggression because for the simple fact that it's frowned upon on their particular culture and society as a whole over there. It's frowned upon. Now, but there is, incidences where people have, of course, shown violence and they did things and, killed people. That, obviously murder still goes on, but it's a lower murder rate, death rate over there and there. So if you look at the stats, about 98% of people who commit crimes, they end up in court. They end up in the justice court system over in Japan. And over 99% of them get convicted for those crimes that they've committed.
Wow.
Now, and feel free to, jump in anytime you want.
I was going to say, and to Todd's point about the demeanor of the people in Japan, of course, different parts, we're talking about Tokyo, but, they have, that demeanor because, of course, a lot of their rituals and their beliefs, it's just basically, like you said, it's frowned upon, but also they focus on Zen-like behavior. They focus on Zen-like behavior, and they teach it to their children. They teach their children techniques in terms of, basically inner peace and things like that. So that, that is definitely not the norm to see an angry person in Japan, like that, like you said, they'll be looking at you like, what's wrong with this person or whatever. And, even if, I know that I was looking at one particular video of a gentleman was talking, and he was saying that, he felt like in Japan, the people being nice and kind and this, that, and the other was more so of a, because they that's what they quote unquote had to do as opposed to what they wanted to do. But my thing is this, that's just part of their culture. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that they're just like, they're going to be so out and out with it. That's just a normal part of their society there, which is good.
Yeah. And so let's just talk about this a little bit. So their level of crime over there in Japan versus the United States is very low. The level of crime is very low. United States, the crime is basically moderate, moderate to high. The crime, increasing in the past like 3 years in Japan is, was moderate. But the crime increasing in the past 3 years here in the U.S. is high.
Super high.
It's high.
Yeah.
Exactly. So people, worried about, their home being broken into, things being stolen is very low. But the U.S. is moderate, which I believe is higher than that, especially now. The amount of people worried about being robbed and mugged is very low. The United States is moderate. And in Japan, they don't really worry about the cars being stolen. They don't worry about being attacked. They don't even worry about walking at nighttime by themselves. I've watched so many videos of women in Tokyo, Japan, walking by themselves late at night, just on their phone, just looking at their phone, walking. Now,
some of you may be thinking like, what's wrong with that? But here's the thing. I mean, depending on where you are,
because they're not worried about
they're not concerned. That's a huge thing. They're not concerned about looking over their shoulder, being super aware, for some shady character or whatever the case may be. So that right there is just like, wow, it's just compared to where we live. Like, that's like, oh my gosh, I would not even imagine.
A lot of people are just really worried about this high crime in the United States. So here in this country, in Chicago, down in Texas, like Houston, Detroit, here in Los Angeles, crime is through the roof. So, especially even out here in California, you have all these smash and grab robberies. It seems like almost every day these smash and grab robberies are happening. California and Texas, New York and Chicago, you have all of these freeway shootings. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
You cut somebody off, even by mistake, you get shot. People shoot you. It happens all the time. People are driving down the freeway, even mind their own business. Someone's on the freeway and they're shooting at you. You're at a stoplight. Somebody pulls up. They're shooting at you. It's just really crazy. The crime, like in our old neighborhood, we stayed just about almost a couple of blocks out of Beverly Hills, California, and now over in that area, high crime. We can't believe it. Like, all this crime. People are getting robbed, shot, everything else over there. Kids are trying to go to school, walking to school, and they're getting robbed. The kids are getting robbed going to school. So this crime is through the roof. How can you really enjoy living in this country when you're surrounded by crime? You're surrounded by a gun. Every time I turn around, someone is getting shot. Someone is getting shot and killed. I mean, just people don't even give a crap anymore. They're just going up to you and they're just shooting you. I mean, just for no reason, just shooting you. Or you say, oh, there's a reason. No, there's not always a reason. People just mind their own business. It was this young lady. She was at the light one night, 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Somebody put up on the side of her and just decided they want to just shoot and kill her. This, I think it was 11 or 12-year-old Black American young boy. He was walking, he just went to the store, and he was coming back from the store from getting some snacks. And this car just pulls up on the side of him and just pulls out a gun and just starts shooting him and killed him. An innocent little boy. It happens all the time.
All the time.
But you don't hear about this in Japan. And again, I'm not saying it doesn't happen in terms of crime, where the crime is very low in Japan. Tokyo, very little crime. I mean, Tokyo, all the people they have, 13.9 million people in Tokyo.
Right.
And they have very low crime compared even to LA, to where we have, 4 million some people. New York, 8+ million people. It's really crazy. Sirens going off all the time. We hear police cars. We see police chases. Every day, police chases. There's a siren. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a siren going off right now.
Exactly.
And if you ever watch the movies, and they always, LA movies, whatever, and the helicopters always flying around and police cars. That's not just the movies. That's reality. That happens in the city of Los Angeles, in Metro, in LA County. It's not just the city of Los Angeles, but even cities outside of Los Angeles with still within Los Angeles County. It happens all the time. Another big reason why, we should move from the U.S. to Tokyo, Japan. Let's be honest here. It's hard living in this country when you're Black, when you're a Black American. It's very hard because one thing we realize is that the hatred that this country has towards Black people makes it very hard, uneasy to live in.
Right. I mean, it's just honestly so disheartening. We know that, I could just really go deep as far as what's going on here, but I'm just going to keep it to, present day. And the fact that we see constantly on the TV, images of Black men getting gunned down, murdered, killed, shot, this person was shot, on the east side today, blah, blah, blah. There was just a thing that I saw when we were somewhere, and they were talking about how woman dies in daughter's arms as a result of a drive-by shooting in Detroit, and I'm just the stuff that we hear, the things that are pumped out over the quote-unquote airwaves, it's just really sad. It's just like constant, bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news. That definitely weighs on us. It weighs on a person, whether or not you're black or not, honestly. Like it can weigh on you. And you feel like, oh my gosh, like this place is crazy. I mean, we already know, okay, in addition to that, what is happening as far as like when we see these images of a lot of times black men. And okay, we know that it's like the police issue. We know that, of course, it's, which I hate this term, quote unquote, black on black crime, because actually there's no such thing as black on black crime. If you're in a concentrated area where it's mainly black people, if you're killing, you're gonna kill black people. If you're mainly in a white area and you're a killer, you're gonna kill white people. If you're in a Hispanic area, it's like 9 times out of 10, that's what it is. So that's another prime example, conjured up, black on black crime. And so people hear that, and that is a program running in the minds of people, and they're going out committing these heinous acts. And it's just like, when at the end of the day you look at it and just like, this is systemic. And so when we as black Americans, I feel, we look at this stuff and we like kind of like wake up, I like to say, you're just like, what gives? Like, what gives? This is like, why in the world would I want to deal with this? Why would I want to deal with our own president not giving a two craps about a clear and blatant racially motivated slaughtering of our people? There was a report basically from White House staffers who said that when that massacre, which I feel so terrible for those people in Buffalo, when that massacre took place, it was business as usual in the White House. They did not ask them, they did not call the black people, so to speak, together and say, hey, I know that this is terrible. Like, normally like they would have grief counseling just to let them know it's available for them. Like, are you okay? Nothing. Like, they didn't do anything. But yet Biden, I mean, no offense against any other racial groups, but Biden invites a K-pop group to the White House to basically talk about Asian hate and all this other stuff. Like, come on, make it make sense. Make it make sense.
And that just makes it more difficult, because I again realize that this country does not like people of color, does not like black folks. A lot of black people in this country feel like no one cares.
Yeah.
No one has really done anything for truly done anything for black folks, except Abraham Lincoln. Since Abraham Lincoln, no one has done really anything significant for black people. So you have black people. So you say black people are going to the continent of Africa, but there's a lot of people that actually have moved to Japan, living in Japan. And I've watched a lot of stories, done a lot of research, and they talk about how happy they are over there and how, for the most part, they don't run into like racism. People don't look at them, with a crazy eye because of the color of their skin.
Yeah.
And actually, from what I've been watching and hearing, black men have been saying that the beautiful Japanese people, they will walk up to them and just start messing with touching their hair and all that, because they like their hair or whatever, and their hair is different, and they'll start conversation with these black people, and just really showing themselves friendly. And this one black guy, he's been over there for years. He didn't even know how to bake. He decided he wants to like teach himself how to bake. He went over to Japan and opened up a bake shop over there, and it's been thriving since. Like all these Japanese people, they patronize his business all the time. They start families over there or bring their families over to Japan. And they said life is just totally different. They don't feel like they're walking on eggshells, none of that stuff and all that. They feel like they're, more free than they were here in the United States. People seem to be much happier, but black people seem to be much happier in Japan. And I even saw another video, and apparently, just to make a long story short, this Asian guy, I guess he was going through something, whatever. He was hurting and was out of money, and I guess he was at his wit's end. and he was crying and yelling, and a black guy came over there to help him out and gave him money, whatever, helped him out. But the Asian guy was shocked because of the fact that he said that from what he was told here in the United States, he was told a lot of bad stuff about blacks. That blacks were like, I guess thugs or whatever, bad people, all sorts of stuff. I don't remember the whole thing, whatever. But he was shocked that this black guy actually lent a helping hand to him and helped him and take care of him. And that changed his perception about blacks because whites were telling him all this bad stuff about black people, and he realized that it wasn't true. But anyway, the whole thing is, again, for the second time, that people are thriving, blacks are thriving over in Tokyo, having a good time, living, a good life, having a better life, again, starting families. And we've been researching, looking at it, in terms of bringing our family over to Tokyo and seeking, residency over there. Mm-hmm. But the whole thing of it is that we have family still here. We have our family, our mothers, my dad is here, and we have other special loved ones here. And so it'll be awfully hard to move over to a place like Japan and leave, our families and stuff here, leave our moms here. So Are we moving to Japan? Are we moving to Tokyo? As of right now, no, we're not going to move there.
And I was going to say, my thing is this. Everybody has a decision to make when it comes to their life or whatever. Like for us, obviously, our main life decision was we got the heck out of Dodge and came over to the West Coast to have a better life as far as that's concerned. So, looking at Japan, looking at the beautiful, communities that they have set up and looking at how they just basically from birth kind of instill certain things into their children, and they go on and do things as far as, have more peace and more, wits about themselves in terms of just basically being decent human beings. Of course, that is very appealing. Okay, now what we can do as far as, since we're not obviously moving there, is just basically take a little piece of that. And it's not just from the, the beautiful people of Japan, but it's from basically everywhere. Take a little piece of that where we see these different places have this sense of morality and peace that they've instilled in their children. And we can take that and, incorporate that into our daily lives while we're here. Because like right now, this is the time to basically you have to do things to pretty much transcend what's going on in America. Because otherwise, if we just stay right here looking at what in the world is going on, we would seriously drive ourselves crazy.
Exactly. So it's good to get out and travel more, and that's what we definitely need to do.
Definitely.
And travel more.
Yeah.
Too. So
looking forward to traveling there. And other places too. I'm really looking forward to doing that. And I know the kids will love it as well.
Exactly. So guys, we appreciate you guys watching. For the ones who watched to the end, we thank you so much. We realize that most people's attention span is only maybe a few seconds, and a lot of people, they stop watching in the first couple of minutes of the video. But we thank you guys who watched to the end. God bless you. May He keep you in perfect peace. Please, guys, make sure that before you go to bed, before you close your eyes, repent and ask for forgiveness for any sins that you've committed that you are aware of. Ask God to forgive you for any sins that you committed that you were unaware of, because you don't know if you're going to wake up to see another day. And we all have to go before God and give an account to everything that we've done on this earth. And the ultimate goal is to make it to heaven and spend all eternity with Christ Jesus in heaven, our Father God, who's in glory and who's omnipresent, who's everywhere at the same time. So thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.